everybody, so welcome to the first vlog that I've done in quite a long time. I am just gonna go and eat my lovely pasta that you just saw me prepping, and then I will get on with some planty stuff with you. So today my plan is that we are going to be doing lots of planty stuff that I haven't done in ages and I need to get done really. And yeah, so a little bit of repotting, a few plants to just check over and make sure they're okay, and a few cuttings and things to take, I think, as well. So yeah, I'm gonna, like I said, get on and eat, and I will see you in a minute. Hello everybody, so we're going to do a lovely vlog today, and I thought I would start off in my beautiful IKEA cabinet. So yeah, I think it's a really good way to show you sort of how some things are doing, and I just need to have a check up on some of my plants. So let me just show you inside. So, I mean, it's looking quite good at the moment. It's not too bad. Just put that guy back in. So he's doing really well, you see. So one thing we're going to be doing is repotting him. As you can see, he certainly needs it. And I just wanted to come and check out this plant because, as you can see, I've got a leaf here that's dying. Now, this was my section that I repotted. So it was, move that one out of the way. So it was these two leaves here and this guy are one plant, and then the rest of the plant is there. So I don't know if you saw my latest video, or one of my latest videos where I sort of repotted this, but these two are still looking really good and healthy. So I'm kind of hoping that's okay. And these are the ones that the growth's coming from. So this is like the oldest leaf, I guess. So it's not the worst thing in the world that's dying. And I think I'm going to try and break that off. But I also wanted to just quickly show you this. Look, I've noticed that the new leaf is coming through and it's looking very, very green, which is what I wanted to achieve. So that's fantastic. And I'm just hoping that there's still going to be some, yeah, it looks like there's still a bit of variegation in there. I think it might be a bit of an odd shape. I don't know if you see how like that's growing at the end. Just looks really odd. So yeah, that's definitely going to be interesting. But yeah, I think I need to just take that off. So let's just go ahead and do that. So actually, when I'm pulling at that, it's actually still quite firm and I don't really want to sort of force it out. So I am actually just going to leave him at the back there and let him die. So I think I just needed to move him away so I could sort of see what the situation was with the rest of them. But I think these ones still look really healthy, so I'm quite happy with that. And then obviously my beautiful new growth is there. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go ahead and do a little bit of checking of some other plants. So we just had some beautiful sunshine come out, so I do apologise about the lighting change, but it's nice to see the sunlight coming out and hitting some of my plants. So as you can see, this guy's really happy. He's got some really nice growth coming through there. 1, 2. He has got a bit of a dry leaf at the back there, and the same along here. I did actually forget to water him the other day, and he does actually need watering again as well. So that's sort of part of the idea of today, is that I need to go around and check. So I'm going to go ahead and water him in a moment. I think the rest of them in here are fine though. I'm just going to rotate him as well because he's starting to lean. A little bit of a crusty leaf there, however, the rest of it. The rest of it looks quite good. But yeah, like I said, I am just going to turn him round because he's starting to lean one direction and I want him to sort of come back the other way. So I think we'll just leave him there. This one's doing really well, actually, I must say. But it's just really frustrating that all the leaves are coming out white. So yeah, that's a bit of just one of those, really. I'm kind of just letting it grow to see if I get any more green come out on the leaves. But that looks, once again, like another white leaf. So, but hey ho, they're alive at the moment, so they seem to be enjoying that environment. I do really need to get some sort of humidifier or something in here, which I am looking at the moment. So if anyone knows of any humidifiers that are good, please do let me know. Yeah, he's really starting to open up nicely now, which is great. He's looking good, although there's no new signs of any new leaves coming through on him, which is a bit odd. So, I mean, there is a little bit of a bump there, but I was expecting with the grow light and the sort of regular sun and things that I was expecting a bit of a leaf to come through on there. But at the moment we are still just at 3 leaves. However, they are looking absolutely stunning, and that sunlight is just making that look beautiful. But yeah, very beautiful. And then I do also have these beautiful cuttings, which are actually, I don't know how well, let's take you out of the sun. Oh, that's quite a good bit there actually. You can see the roots really starting to grow through there, which is really great. So they're almost ready for me to sell on really. But yeah, really nice. One of them I did notice actually. Let's see how this leaf's going. Yeah, it's actually starting to grow a new leaf. So, dropping them all over the place. So this here is a top cutting. So as you can see, some nice roots coming through on there, and it's actually got a new leaf growing through, which has been since I've put it in the water that's come out. So that's really cool. And he looks like he's going to be a nicely variegated one, which is fantastic. Now this is the reason why I obviously cut these back is because it was growing out the white leaves every now and again. So that does have a full white leaf there. However, you know, in the right environment, they do grow quite nicely, the white leaves, but you just can't let them slip at all, because that's when they, end up sort of going a bit funny. So, however, none of the other ones are really showing any proper signs of growth yet, I don't think. Just have a look at this, but it's got some really nice roots, which is fantastic. Yeah, no new signs of growth yet, but that will come when it's that will come out when it's ready. So make sure those are getting back in the water. I still can't believe how beautiful that looks there in that sunlight. Isn't it just gorgeous colouring? But yes, that's kind of it for in here really. I've recently taken these out at the top here, so we are going to go ahead and change those two into the pots. That was my variegated Wyetii was up here, and my variegated string of hearts. So we're going to repot those in a minute, so I've just got them out ready. Yeah, so let's just clean this up. I'm going to go and get this watered, and then we'll look at taking some cuttings and things, and then get on to the repotting. So I've just had to shut the blinds because the sun's absolutely stunning today, and it's so lovely for it to be out. But yeah, it was really shining in there quite close and bright, and affected the camera. So this is my string of pearls, which as you can see is growing really beautifully, but it isn't very full at all. So my plan is to cut it back probably right up, and then get some roots growing down on them, and then repot them in afterwards. So I'm going to cut just at a certain length, I guess. So I'm just going to start around there. So as with most string of plants, you are going to just, I mean, they'll tangle like a nightmare because they always do, but you just want to cut them in between the leaves, basically. So where you've got, for instance, where here you've got the two balls there, you're just going to cut it in between. Okay. And then with this, you don't have to leave that as one long strand to propagate it. You can cut it multiple times going down. It depends on how you're going to propagate really. But yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and continue to cut these all the way around. Don't know if you can see here, but this one here has actually almost got its own little root growing on it just here. which is fantastic. So I'm definitely going to keep that on there. And what I'll probably do is just take these few off when I propagate it and just make sure that bit there sits ready to grow the root out even more. Right, so there we are. So that's kind of where I'm going to go to. I'm going to leave these ones that just got new shoots coming through on the ends, and they're not that long, so there's not really worth me cutting that with everything I've just cut off as well. So I'm just going to leave that there. I'm just going to check. I think it's going to, yeah, it needs a little bit of water. So I'm going to go ahead and add a bit of water to that as well now it's had its cut. I always try to cut them when they're dry just because it doesn't shock them as much. So I will leave that for a bit for the ends to just sort of seal over, and then yeah, I'll just give that a little water. Get these curtains opened up again so my beautiful plants can get a lot of sunlight on what's been quite a wintry time at the moment. It's nice to have the sun shining in. And yeah, let's go and sort these out. So I think my plan today is, I'm not quite sure how I'm going to propagate those yet, so I'm just going to let them sit there and sort of dry off, I guess, from their cuttings. This here is a cactus, a succulent, from a friend of ours who wanted me to kind of sort it out because of all the babies and things growing through. And I've actually noticed that it's gone really, like, although it feels nice and wet and moist, it feels really flimsy, and I think it's been overwatered. I haven't had it very long. I've only had it a couple of days, and it was really wet when it came to me, and I'm worried that that's due to the soil that it's in. However, I don't have a lot of soil here at the moment, especially like good airy soil, to be able to sort that out. So that might take a little bit longer, but what I am going to do is I'm just going to take the babies off of it, and I'm going to just get the, maybe just loosen up the soil a little bit and just see what's going on inside there. So we'll have a look at that one in a minute. But yeah, that is proper soaking, and that's been there for about a week, and it's really wet, so that's not great. So then I've got these two. So this here is my variegated Wyetii. Now this is still sat in moss at the moment. It's been under my grow light, and do you know what? It's actually been doing really well. So I've been keeping the moss nice and moist and things like that. However, I do think now that it just needs to come, it's absolutely dripping, sorry. Ooh, I'm gonna make it nice and wet. I do think that now really it needs to just come out of this moss. So it's got some really nice root growth going on. And I do actually have just a small bag of this anthurium mix, which I've heard is actually quite good for things like Hoya and like string of hearts and things like that. So I'm going to use this to repot that, and also to repot my string of hearts here, which is actually going really well. I don't know if I've really mentioned the story about this one, but basically what happened was the rabbits managed to get hold of it one day where it was somewhere I didn't think they could reach, and they basically pulled it down. I came down in the morning and they'd eaten everything apart from the bulbs. So it was just the bulbs and that little bit of soil that you can see, and they're now left. And yeah, it wasn't ideal. So, however, I didn't give up on it because the bulbs were still there. So I was kind of hopeful that it might do something. And lo and behold, it has. So I've got basically a new plant back from that. So I'm very excited. I'm really glad that I've got it back. But I'm also quite upset because it was, you know, doing really well and looking really lovely. So, but you know, it is what it is. So I'm going to basically just dig those bulbs out, try and loosen up some of the soil, and then repot it back in, because yeah, it is, as you can see, like there's just so much soil missing. The bulbs are like massively on display, and yeah, I just think it needs a bit of something. So we'll give that a go. I mean, it's getting some really nice variegation back on it, which is really lovely, especially some of these bigger leaves. And yeah, it's just got some really cute ones coming through, so it's not doing too badly. What I am just going to quickly do is actually get my potting mat, because I've realised that I could use that and it would make it a lot easier. Right, lovely. So I think I'm just going to start by getting this guy all loosened up and try and find out some of the roots and stuff really, and then we'll get him potted up first, I think. So I just put you in a little bit closer there just so we can get some of this, you can see properly what we're getting on with, what we're doing. So like I said, this is really moist, but I've got to be careful not to break any of these beautiful roots that are starting to grow through as well, because it's actually really difficult to see what's roots and what's not. So I'm just going to crack on and get this guy untangled, and we will go from there. Louise, I think that's about the best I'm going to get, really. So some of that is soil where it came from. Basically, it came to me in soil as a cutting with a little bit like that, basically with a little bit of moss wrapped around it. And when it arrived, I didn't have any good soil to put it into. So basically what I did is I just wrapped this end bit in moss. So that's why it's kind of like that. Now, it's actually getting some really nice growth. So I don't know if you can see, but this end bit here is starting to grow. And it's actually got some really nice growth coming up the top there and here as well. So that's really exciting. And sorry, I got my rabbit running through his run underneath me here. So yeah, so that should be quite good. I have actually just noticed a mealybug on here. So I'm very quickly just going to get a swab and just swab those off before it gets on anything else. So I'm then just going to add a little bit of hot water. So basically that is my neem oil, some washing up liquid, and then yeah, just a little bit of hot water there. It just helps the oil break down. So I'm then just going to use cotton buds, and I'm just going to go in. Now normally I would just use like rubbing alcohol or vodka or something for this. However, I don't actually have any. So that's why I'm going in with this solution. Just make sure before you put it on that it's not too hot, because obviously you don't want to burn the plant. But yeah, this just works. So I'm just going to rub this all over the leaves, which will give them a good clean at the same time. It's really annoying. I can't believe I've just found them on this. Honestly, it just absolutely bugs me as to where these actually come from, because you think you get rid of them and then suddenly they just appear on like the randomest plant and you're like, how? I mean, my guess is that it came with them, but I mean, I've had this plant for quite a while now. So they must have just been slowly growing on here, and it hasn't been near anything else. So the big versions of mealybugs, I think, look a bit like miniature, like, what are they called with all the legs? Look like miniature woodlouse, if that makes sense. I mean, you can probably see with, I might be able to do a zoom in on this for you, but then if you can see with that guy just there, so he definitely looks like a miniature woodlouse to me. But yeah, so basically, if once you've got your swab, if you just go over it and then you can just get him out. Yeah, there you go, he's gone from there. So, I mean, this solution is what I would normally use after I've got them all off. So I'd use the rubbing alcohol to get them off, and then I would use this solution to just spray over the top afterwards. But as I obviously don't have, like I said, any of the rubbing alcohol or anything, I'm actually just going to go over, swab it with this, and then, yeah, probably just leave it for a bit, and then maybe give it a really good rinse off before I pot it. So I'm just going to use like a surface cleaner and some tissue just to clean the surface, because I don't want to get, like I said, anything on there, but I also don't want to leave it on any like cloths or anything, so that's why I'm using tissue, and then hopefully this will just pick up anything extra as well. Right then, so now I guess we will very quickly move on to the next one. So let's hope that this doesn't have the same issue, although I really don't think it does, even though it's been next to it in the cupboard. Cool, so we're just going to break this down. So this is nice and dry. I don't, I try to sort of leave them to dry out really if I'm replacing the soil, because it's a lot easier to get the soil off without damaging any of the roots. It just sort of crumbles. Yeah, he's looking pretty good. He's looking pretty healthy. Obviously he's been growing really well, so that's fantastic. And we're just going to have loads of little bulbs left, which is great. Now, I don't want to get rid of all this soil, you know, it's clearly enjoying it and doing quite well in there. So I'm just going to get rid of the excess. So we just push that over to the side. That's a little bulb there that's just come out. So let's just keep that over here, and we'll just pop that back in. So some of the bulbs do come a bit loose, obviously. So I'm then just going to open this. I'm just going to pour, now because I'm not worried about the soil, obviously I'm not going to clean the pot out because it's the same stuff going back in. However, I was putting a new plant in here or whatever, I would be sterilising that pot. There we are. So as you can see, it's just like a really nice chunky light mixture, which is what we're kind of after for this type of plant. However, because it's such a small pot, I don't want big, like huge chunks like that in there. Just make sure there's plenty of soil for it to grip onto as well. So I think obviously if I stick that on top there now, that's not going to do great. So I'm just going to maybe take a little bit of that out. Now this is quite dry at the moment, so it's going to be quite hard to sort of get it buried in, I guess. So we're just going to do a little bit of a shimmy as I put it in there. So I want that to sit a little bit closer like that, and I want to just make sure I'm not damaging any of the bits, the bulbs, and then I'm just going to pop this guy in there as well. Now my initial thoughts would be to hide the bulbs in this, but it's been growing quite well with the bulbs set out of it. So I think what I'm probably going to do, if I can actually get into here, I might actually just pour some of this out into another pot. So I've got a clean pot in here. So what I'm then going to do, whilst pouring some of the big chunky bits out, is I'm just going to pour this round the edges and just filter it round. I mean, these sorts of plants do quite well with a little bit of like a nice chunky mix, so it's not overly concerning, to be honest, that there's not a lot of soil in here. That's kind of the way, you know, it should be done. You can obviously make your own soil mixes and things like that, but this is just one that I had from Soil Ninja, and it's just, I personally really like their mixes, and this one in particular, like I said, is really good for just like a bunch of different plants that sort of have similar needs. So like this is also what I would pop my string of pearls into, sorry, once that those cuttings are done. If I feel I need to repot that at that point, then I would. So you can just see already that this here is just looking loads better. Obviously I'm taking those big chunky bits out of the soil for the moment, just because this is such a little pot. Those chunky bits would just fill the whole thing up. However, there's still plenty of, you know, little smaller chunky bits in, like these, that are sort of helping to aerate there as well. So I think, yeah, if we could just get some of those soily bits, I'm then just gonna sort of tease these apart and just sprinkle a little bit over the top, without burying too many of the new growth. But yeah, I think I'm going to leave it like that. I'm just going to add a little bit of water, so if we just pop a little saucer underneath there. Now normally I would water from the bottom, however I'm just going to sprinkle it over the top here to just really let that soil settle in and do its thing and make sure it gets to those roots. And yeah, just make sure it's all happy really, so we're just going to do that. Cool, and that's coming out nicely at the bottom, which means it's falling through nice and quickly. Now this is going to need watering quite a bit because that is a really airy soil, but I just really think it's going to do well and thrive quite nicely in this. It's already growing beautifully, and like I said, I have left some of those bulbs exposed because basically it seems to be working for it. I mean, it's been growing really well so far, so I think it would be a shame to mess with that system of what it's been doing. So I'm just going to leave that for a minute. Since I've had a succulent like this that's actually had babies on it, so let's just go ahead and see what I can do. So yeah, these I mean the soil is like overflowing in the pot, which isn't ideal. I think what I'm actually just going to try and do is just squeeze it. Oh, okay. Yeah, so basically what's happened, yeah, so this has been overwatered because that has just come straight out of the soil. And it's actually, I don't know if you can see this, but it's actually starting to rot at the bottom here. So all of these are rotting. which isn't ideal. I thought it had been overwatered. So I'm just going to pull those leaves off that are going a bit soggy there. I think I'm going to have to try and find some soil from somewhere. I might have a bit around of some kind, so I will have to empty that out. Actually, yeah, let's go and do that now with these lovely rotten leaves. Right, so I was actually just having a look around at what I've got, and I've actually just found, this is my Monstera philodendron mix, which is what I was going to use. And then I just remembered that I actually have this cacti, succulent and bonsai compost. So I'm going to use this, I think, but let's just have a look at it, because the thing is with these is that I personally just don't think it's the best mixes. Yes, it was just that. So I think really this guy needs a little bit of moisture. Oh, look at that. Yeah, so I think these babies that are growing on it are probably going to have to go. I'm definitely going to cut those off. See, they're just falling off. I think what I'm probably going to do is just take the babies off of it and then just get him repotted in here. I definitely want some, I think I'm going to mix some of this chunky stuff in here actually and just give it something to, because even this feels really moist right now. So there are a few bits there. I'm just going to trim the ends of these roots back just to see something a little bit healthier, hopefully. God. So I'm wondering if that would be okay. So as you can see, it's gone right back. However, there are a few bits here that should be okay. So I'm hoping that that's just kind of going to reroot there. My plan is that I'm going to pop this up in this soil. I'm not going to water it anytime soon. And I'm going to go and pop it underneath one of my grow lights, I think. My good, powerful grow light, but not right at the top, maybe a couple of rows down. And just give it a chance. And I'm just, yeah, reducing that soil down a bit just helps so that when it falls out, it doesn't need to sit right up here, the soil, it can sit a little bit lower down. I appreciate with these succulents, you want them to sit quite high up in the pot because that's the way they fan out and that's the way they look nice. So this guy will probably open up a bit now and then these new shoots in the middle will grow out. However, he's obviously extremely unstable, so I'm just gonna leave him like that. Let's put him, I'm just gonna rinse that pot out and give it a little bit of a clean, and then we'll pop him back in this pot and we'll pop him under my grow light. I think is probably the best bet for him. Right, so let's go and just pop this guy under my grow light so he can start sorting himself out. So I think I will probably pot him maybe in like this bit here. It's quite a good spot there. That will just allow him to like really dry out. So he's not too close. Obviously there's a extra shelf there. But yeah, it would just really allow him to dry out. Still looks really good and healthy, so I'm hoping that he's not going to be too damaged from that. But yeah, so that's that one. And then, you know, once I'm happy that he's looking a bit healthier and he's sort of started to open out and stuff and not feeling so spongy, then I will give him a water and then I'll sort of send him back and hope that he's all okay. I won't leave him under the grow light for too long, so I don't want him to get used to it because obviously his owner doesn't have a grow light. But yeah, so that's hopefully that'll be okay there. Let's also just go and pop this guy back in his cabinet. Oh. So he actually just lives in the middle here underneath the grow lights. So he'll, you know, soak up some nice light from there. I still haven't sorted out these cables properly, by the way. They are meant to go out the back and up through here, but you have to either take the plug off the end first or make a bigger hole to put the plug through. So yes, not ideal, but we are going to get that sorted, and then that can just go out through the back so I don't have this traipsy at the front. But yeah, so he's quite happy there, I think, at the moment, and he's looking really good, and I'm really happy just having him you know, potted up nicely, really. And yeah, it's just so beautiful. I mean, look at some of that variegation in there. Isn't it gorgeous? Before we go back and just sort out those cuttings, I just really quickly wanted to show you my monstera because it's got lots of beautiful new growth coming out, which is very exciting. So let me just flip you round. So basically, I've had this brand new leaf come out here, which is absolutely stunning. Really beautiful one. And then, I don't know if you can see under here, we've then got this guy. Absolutely beautiful. I love the way that they unfurl. I just think they look absolutely stunning. So yeah, he's coming out next, which is gorgeous. And he's actually doing really well now over here. I've had a really good water with him recently, and yeah, he's looking really happy. However, I did accidentally, as you can see, there's a lamp behind here. And when I put him back from being watered, I did accidentally overlap one of the leaves without realising. And this is the consequence of that, which is really upsetting. And I'm sure you can all sort of feel the pain that I went through when I noticed it. But yeah, because that was such a gorgeous leaf. But hey, is what it is. So we're just making sure that he's not getting any worse. And my leaf over here finally opened up as well, actually. I'll also just quickly show you this. So yeah, I mean, I've had a few crusty bits on these, which just seem to have stopped. And I think that was just because of the heating. But I think it's kind of adjusted to it now. So yeah, thankfully that's not really an issue anymore. I didn't really have anywhere else for it to go. So it's kind of just is what it is. But I mean, it seems to have just stopped there. So that's fine. I might trim it off at some point. But yeah, this beautiful new leaf, just stunning. I mean, just the little sort of speckles along here and then just that half moon. I find it really weird though, that how on this side, this new sort of shoot that's come out, they seem to be, the stem seems to be like off to one side, which is really odd. So it'll be interesting to see how the new one grows, which there are some signs of a new one coming from there. So we'll see. It might not be too long. But yeah, I'm quite excited that I've got like this guy here, and then I managed to get that other sort of cutting down here as well from it as well. So that's quite exciting. And yeah, we'll kind of see. But I mean, he's sort of a half mooner as well. So yeah, really pretty, and I'm really excited. I love my variegated plants, as you can tell. Pretty much that whole cabinet's got variegation in it. Obviously trying to keep it sort of away from the heating, and also under my grow lights and stuff. But yeah, so everything's doing pretty good at the moment. So I think if we just go and sort out those cuttings, and then I think that's kind of it for today on the plant chores front. I might do a few other little bits tomorrow, but yeah, looking quite good. Actually, just kind of looking at what space I've got for my cuttings, really. So this guy here has currently got my variegated strings of pearls in, which aren't really growing a lot of roots at the moment. So the chances are they're going to be in there for a little while yet, which is a shame. I'm hoping that they are going to sort of grow and survive, but we'll see. This beautiful string of turtles, which actually is doing really well. I don't know if you can see the roots inside there. So it probably could get potted up soon. But I want to wait for the other cuttings to be ready with it as well. So yeah, and then I've got, sorry, I've got lots of washing and things in the way. Then I've got this guy here, which is another string of turtles. And he's, once again, like not rooted much yet. So I would like him to be ready at least for those two to go together. But I do have a whole nother level of like cuttings through under my grow light as well. So that's not ideal. However, what I could do is potentially put these in, what have I got? I actually got a second, yeah, there's my other string of turtles there. And I've got another one of these behind here. So I could actually use that and put these into here. Yeah, maybe that's what I'll do. So I'm just going to start by filling these up with water. I'm going to fill them quite high because they go down like really far, and these are obviously going to be quite new cuttings. So I will just fill it right to the top there. So let's just try and I didn't really do this very well when I cut them off, to be honest. I should have like led them a bit more careful, but hey ho. So let's just try and lay them out so that we've got all the sort of the points that I cut them from laying at the top. Sorry you can't see very well. I know this grow mat's not the best for filming because you've got like green underneath, but hopefully you can see what I'm doing okay. So what I'm going to do then is I'm just going to start cutting and just sort of start cutting in really. So I think I'm just going to keep this one like it is, but I'm just going to break off just the first couple, maybe 2 of those little baubles, and then I'll just pop it in there like that, hopefully with none of the other bits poking out. And then the bits that are in the water, from where I've broken off 1 or 2 of them, in theory that should be the point where it starts rooting. So I'm then just going to chop around there, and I'm going to just break one off. I mean, it has got one that's sort of come off already there. I'm just going to break one more off. Like I said, I want these to sit quite short at the moment, and then they can sort of grow out. And then now this one, just take a couple of these off a second, has got really nice root starting just here. So that's a really good point to pop that in the water. So as much as there's a beautiful little clump of them here, I'm just going to break all of those off, because you don't want them to be sat too close to the water because they can rot. So I'm just going to trim that down a tiny bit as well, so that that root is definitely in the water, and then hopefully that aerial root will sort of start to stem. So I'll probably maybe put 1 or 2 more cuttings in there. So it's amazing how many cuttings you can get just out of one strand, but it's always worth paying attention, because if there are any aerial roots, it's a really good place to cut. So I'm just going to cut just above there, because I've just found a lovely little aerial root there as well. Pop him in there. Right, so I'm just going to go ahead and get on with some of these other bits here, and I'll see you in a mo. So let's go and pop this guy under the grow light. So I'm probably just going to pop him in with the other one. You might need to just have a little bit of a shimmy round in here. Let's see what we can do. So I think maybe if we let's just push him back a little bit. There we are, that looks cute. Pull him out. And then some of these can just sit in the middle of there. Although it literally is just a shelf full of plants, I do like it to look nice at the same time. This little guy here, right, has been this size forever, I swear. He's absolutely beautiful, and the leaves on it are just stunning, but he hasn't like grown any new leaves. And he just kind of just seems to be chilling. So I don't really know what to do with him. Let me know what you would do if there's a way that I can get him to start growing. Or something, I don't really know. Let me know your thoughts. Yeah, so that's that really. Thank you very much for watching my video today. I really hope you enjoyed coming along and doing my plant chores and stuff with me. As you could see, I did have quite a few bits that I really needed to get done and that just needed a bit of care and attention. I am just going to carry on checking a couple of my plants for watering and things like that. But other than that, yeah, I think we're pretty much there. And I will try and get a clip when I sort out my YTI, but it depends if it's a bit late in the evening, then I probably won't whip out my camera. But I will, if I can, then I will get that out for you. However, together. I'm pretty much just going to give it a rinse off with some water and then just chuck it in that soil that I've got. And yeah, hopefully put it somewhere where it can get a nice bit of light, but not back in my cupboard, because I'm slightly worried about it getting mealybugs and others, so we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, so thank you very much, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.